Okay, picture this. It's 1831. You've got Major Jonathan Forbes. He's a British Army guy exploring deep in the forests of Sri Lanka.
Right, pretty remote, dense territory back then.
Exactly. And he's pushing through, doing research, when bam, he just stops.
What does he see?
This absolutely massive rock just shoots straight up out of the jungle, like 200 meters. That's what, 650 feet.
A sheer monolith.
Yeah. And the top isn't jagged, it's flat. Perfectly flat. And on it, a whole city.
A city in the sky.
A giant palace city, apparently hidden for nearly 400 years. Forbes is just blown away, you know?
Understandably, I mean, finding something like that.
And then he hits a snag. He looks closer at this huge rock wall. No ladder, no path, nothing.
Uh-oh, so how did anyone get up there?
That's what he's thinking. How is this thing built? So he asks the local Buddhist monks, right? They've been around for ages.
Okay, makes sense. What do they say?
Get this. He asks how the builders got up. Their answer: they didn't use stairs.
No stairs. Then how?
They told him they flew there.
They flew
So
there.
there, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine standing at the base of a 200-meter rock, staring up at a city in the clouds, and being told it was built by people who flew. That's the kind of astonishing entry point we have for our deep dive today into Sigiriya.
The Lion Rock.
The Lion Rock, exactly. It's in Sri Lanka, south of India, UNESCO site since '82. And it really is this city perched way up on this huge monolith.
Almost 200 meters up.
Right. And thousands of tourists go every year, sure, but there's this deeper layer, isn't there? This place has been like a center of worship for ages.
For thousands of years. Archaeology actually shows people have been active in that area for maybe 5,000 years.
5,000. Wow.
And Buddhists kept using nearby places like the Tambula cave temples much more recently, too.
So it's got this long, continuous history of human presence.
Right. And what's fascinating here right from the start is this fundamental paradox. You've got undeniable, massive ancient construction.
Yeah, you can see it, touch it.
But the scale seems almost impossible, especially when paired with this seemingly supernatural explanation. Flying builders.
Yeah.
And this immediately raises a huge question for us looking back. How do we reconcile these powerful stories, these local narratives, with our modern understanding of history, of engineering, of what people could actually do back then?
Is it just myth? Or does
Yeah.
it point to something
No.
more, something older?
Exactly. Does it hint at capabilities or a timeline that just doesn't fit the standard history books?
That's a powerful point, and it nails the dilemma, doesn't it? So our mission today is to try and cut through those layers: time, legend, hard facts. We're going to explore the two main stories about Sigiriya. There's the mainstream historical one.
King Kaishapa.
Right. And then there are the ancient myths, which tell a wildly different tale. Almost unbelievable.
We need to look at both.
We do. We'll dissect the engineering marvels because they really challenge what we think we know. We'll dig into those ancient Indian epics.
The Ramayana connections.
Exactly. And consider the spiritual weight of this place. The goal is to give you, our listener, a really full picture of why Sigiriya is still called, like our sources say, the only place whose secret is still unsolved.
Hopefully leaving people with a new perspective on this incredible site.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start with the story you usually hear, the mainstream one. It revolves around this king, King Kashyapa.
Late 5th century A.D., ruled Sri Lanka from 473 to 495.
And his story is, well, it's pretty dark, like something out of Shakespeare, honestly.
Definitely dramatic.
To grab the throne, Prince Kashyapa, he murdered his own brother, the guy who was actually the rightful heir.
Fratricide. Not a great start.
And it gets worse. He apparently also killed his own father.
Patricide, too. Wow. Okay, so he wasn't exactly winning popularity contests.
No kidding. The sources say his dark personality made everyone hate him. He was, understandably, living in constant fear. Fear of being assassinated.
Looking over his shoulder constantly, the same way he got power.
Could be used against him, exactly. And this deep paranoia, this fear, is supposedly why he built Sigiriya.
Ah, the motive.
Right. He ditched his old palace, which was probably easier to get to, and decided he needed something impenetrable. An inaccessible palace, like a castle, right on top of that ancient Sigiriya rock.
A fortress born of fear, essentially. Not grand vision, but pure self-preservation.
That's the story. A king haunted by his past, desperate for a safe house in the sky.
So a king driven by fear, building this monumental thing. What about the timeline? How fast did they supposedly build this refuge?
That's where it gets interesting and maybe problematic.
Yeah, the mainstream story gives a surprisingly short time frame, doesn't it?
Astonishingly short. Construction supposedly starts in 477 AD.
and finishes in 485 AD.
Just 7 years. 7 years to build a palace complex on a 200-meter high rock.
Seems incredibly fast for the scale we're talking about. Now, consider the irony in Keshaba's story, too. It's almost textbook.
How so?
The one who betrays is betrayed. Remember his half-brother, Mogolan, the one he'd kicked out?
The rightful heir, yeah.
Well, Mogolan didn't just disappear. He went to India, raised an army, and came back.
Ah, payback time.
Big time.
Yeah.
He confronts Kashyap's forces right there at the base of Sigiriya. Battle ensues. Mogolan wins, crushes Kashyap's army,
And Kashyapa.
realizes it's over. Capture is inevitable.
Yeah.
So he commits suicide. End of story for him.
Wow. So his fortress of fear didn't actually save him in the end.
Nope. Mogolan takes the throne. And what does he do with Sigiriya? He gives the whole region to Buddhist monks.
A common practice, right? Giving land to religious orders.
Very common. So Sigiriya becomes a monastery, a place of peace, ironically.
Ah.
And it stays that way, a functioning Buddhist center, until around the 14th century.
Ah.
Then it sort of fades, gets gradually forgotten, overgrown by the jungle, lost to the wider world for centuries.
Until Major Forbes stumbles upon it in 1831.
Exactly, bringing us back to the start. But this whole narrative, Kashyap's 7-year build, while it's dramatic, it immediately throws up red flags when you look at the actual engineering involved.
Yeah, 7 years just feels tight.
It requires intense scrutiny. What exactly did they manage to build in that time, and how on earth did they do it? Because the details of the construction, well, they seem to push the boundaries of 5th century capabilities.
And that's the real puzzle, isn't it? Those inconsistencies. When Western archaeologists finally got in there properly after Forbes,
We started finding things that just didn't quite fit the simple paranoid king story.
they realized pretty quickly this wasn't just some rushed fortress. The descriptions use phrases like extremely advanced engineering for that period of human history.
It was way more sophisticated than they expected.
Let's talk about the rock itself first. That summit, it's not just kind of flat, it's almost perfectly level.
Over a huge area, too.
Yeah, 16,000 square meters. That's like, what, 4 acres? Several football fields laid end to end.
It's vast, and the rock type is key here, too. It's charnockite,
Which is?
a type of granite,
Yeah.
extremely hard granite. On the Mohs hardness scale, it's a 7.
Okay, Mohs scale. Diamond is 10, right.
The hardest. Exactly. So 7 is seriously tough. Think about trying to cut or flatten that much super hard rock today. You'd need specialized gear, probably diamond-tipped saws.
And they supposedly did this in the 5th century. With what tools? Bronze? Iron?
That's the immediate question. Standard tools would barely scratch it, or they'd dull constantly. Leveling 4 acres of Mohs 7 rock in 7 years.
It's a massive challenge, just that one aspect.
A monumental challenge. And then on this perfectly flattened surface, they built all these structures, some symmetrical, some asymmetrical, but all designed to fit the natural shape of the area.
Integrated with the landscape.
Precisely. Which suggests careful planning, not just a rush job.
So this isn't just a rock-hard problem, it's an engineering riddle from the get-go. It makes that 7-year timeline feel shaky already.
It really does. And as our technology got better, our understanding deepened. We started using things like advanced imaging.
And what did that show?
Well, initially, people thought it was just, palace building storage areas up there. But the analysis revealed something more deliberate. The main structure wasn't just a palace.
Yeah. What was it?
It was built as a large, stepped pyramid.
A stepped pyramid, like,
Almost exactly like the pyramids you see in Teotihuacan, in Mexico.
whoa, Teotihuacan, that's halfway across the world.
Exactly. The parallels in the form, the scale, they're striking. It suggests maybe a shared architectural idea, or at least a very similar approach, separated by vast distances.
That's fascinating, but the clever stuff wasn't just up top, was it?
Not at all. Down below, right in front of the rock, those ancient gardens, they weren't just decorative.
No.
They were an absolute masterpiece of ancient water engineering. Hydraulic systems,
Like irrigation.
way beyond simple irrigation. Highly sophisticated underground channels, water storage systems using underground tanks, dams,
Yeah.
all designed to keep those gardens irrigated constantly year-round.
Underground tanks and dams, how did that work?
Probably gravity-fed, using the natural slopes, maybe even pressure systems. They had to calculate gradients, build channels that wouldn't leak, store monsoon water for the dry season. The level of planning is incredible.
Comparable to Roman aqueducts, maybe?
Comparable, yes, but maybe even more integrated with the natural terrain. And what's amazing is some parts of these systems, they're still used today by local farmers.
After all these centuries. Wow.
And there's more. They found evidence of a huge man-made irrigation canal, square-shaped, that encompassed both the Sigiriya rock area and these massive gardens.
A giant square canal. Like, where else have we seen that?
Just like the massive water management systems at Angkor Wat in Cambodia.
Angkor Wat, Teotihuacan. These are huge, advanced ancient sites.
Precisely. Finding that same level of engineering here in Sri Lanka, supposedly built in just 7 years by one king running scared, it really stretches credulity, doesn't it?
It makes you think either Kashyapa had access to some unbelievable technology leap.
Or, more likely, he was building on something much older, a pre-existing knowledge base.
Okay, so the engineering is advanced, the timeline is suspect, but what about just getting the stuff up there, the materials?
Ah, yes, the logistics. This is where the mainstream story really starts to unravel for many people.
Tell me about the bricks.
Okay, so the structures on top used a lot of clay bricks. Nothing weird about clay bricks themselves.
Right, common building material.
But the quantity is staggering.
Yes.
Estimates suggest at least 3 million clay bricks were used up there.
3 million. Okay, how do you get 3 million bricks up a 200-meter sheer rock face?
Excellent question. And here's the absolute kicker.
Uh-oh.
There are no remains of any kind of staircase system. No ramps, no evidence of scaffolding foundations, nothing conventional that would explain how they moved that much material up.
Wait, no stairs at all?
None that have been found. Which makes you wonder about that flew there comment from the monks, doesn't it?
It certainly makes it linger. Let's do the math again. 3 million bricks in 7 years.
Comes out to about 11,474 bricks every single day.
Every day, nearly 1,200 bricks need to go up that cliff and be put in place.
Now, on a flat site with easy access, maybe that's manageable if challenging.
But this is a 200-meter cliff. In a dense forest, we said it takes 2 hours just to climb the modern stairs.
Imagine hauling heavy, fragile bricks up that hundreds of times a day after day for 7 years. It seems physically impossible with known methods.
Okay, bricks are one thing. What else?
Marble. Lots of it. All the roads and steps in the area were paved with massive marble blocks, some weighing tons.
Tons of marble. Okay, where did they get it? Was there a quarry nearby?
That's the other mystery. This specific type of marble. It wasn't known in the region at that time. Experts today still say they do not know which quarry around the region this marble came from.
Why not?
Because, and the source is very clear on this, there is not even a single marble quarry around Sigiriya.
Wait, they moved millions of bricks up a cliff with no stairs, and they somehow imported tons of massive marble blocks from an unknown location with no local source.
That's what the physical evidence suggests we have to account for.
Okay, pulling these threads together. Moving hills worth of material day after day, year after year, up a sheer cliff, no stairs, no ramp, using marble from who knows where.
It's not just difficult. Like you said, it feels impossible within that conventional 7-year Kashyapa framework.
There really is no logical explanation offered for how they got all that material up there without stairs, is there?
Not within the standard historical model, no.
Yeah.
It's a massive glaring hole in the story.
And the weirdness doesn't stop with just getting things up there, right? There are strange features on the rock itself.
Exactly. The structural oddities add another layer. Archaeologists found these regular carvings cut into the rack face.
Carvings, like pictures.
More like grooves, linear patterns, deliberate, not random scratches. And the crucial thing is, they're thought to be much older than 1,500 years ago, older than Kashyapa.
Older, so they were already there.
That's the implication, which challenges the idea that Kashyapa started everything from scratch. And we don't know why they were made or how, especially since some are really high up, meters above the ground in tricky spots.
Hard to reach, let alone carve precisely.
Very hard. And then there are these holes.
Holes.
Yeah, near some of these carvings, they found holes drilled deep into the granite, like meters deep, meters, into solid granite. What for? Good question. We don't know the purpose. And again, how did people back then, with supposedly primitive tools, drill meters deep into super hard granite, especially in small, precise holes?
It just doesn't seem feasible with basic tools.
It's another big question mark. It really points towards either much longer history for the site, maybe Kashyapa just built on older structures, or, well, access to some kind of advanced techniques.
Okay, older carvings, deep mysterious holes. What else is up there? You mentioned a water tank.
Oh, yes, the pool at the summit. It's not natural. It's carved right out of the granite bedrock.
How big are we talking?
Pretty big. About 30 meters long, 23 meters wide, and 2.5 meters deep.
That's huge. How much rock do they have to remove to make that?
Calculations suggest around 3,500 tons of granite had to be quarried out.
3,500 tons just for the pool.
Yeah. Think about digging that out with primitive tools. It would take ages, months, maybe years, just for the pool itself.
Yeah.
And then moving all that granite debris.
But here comes the weird part, right? The tool marks.
Exactly. This is maybe one of the most baffling details. When you look closely at the edges of this massive granite pool today,
No chisel marks.
no typical marks from hammering or chiseling, none of the usual signs of primitive stoneworking. Instead, you see these long, smooth scoop scars.
Scoop scars. What does that even mean?
It's controversial, obviously,
Yeah.
but the description used is like the marks left by an ice cream scoop. Smooth, curved indentations, as if the rock was somehow softened and scooped out, not chipped away.
Like scooping ice cream out of granite.
It sounds bizarre, I know. But these marks are very similar to strange tool marks found on other megalithic sites, places like Egypt and Peru, which also defy easy explanation.
Okay, let's unpack that. A 3,500-ton granite pool carved with scoop marks, not chisel marks. This isn't just moving rock, it's shaping it in a way we don't understand.
It really challenges our assumptions about ancient technology.
The source even mentions, speculatively, this idea of Vedic science of stone softening.
Yes, it touches on that as a potential explanation, though it's highly speculative and not mainstream science. The idea comes from some interpretations of ancient texts, suggesting lost techniques for altering stone.
But the marks are there. Soft, scooped marks in hard granite. It implies some process, some technology.
Something that allowed them to manipulate incredibly hard stone in a way that seems almost effortless compared to bashing it with primitive tools. It hints at a different kind of science, maybe.
Forgotten science, yeah. It just adds another layer of impossibility to the conventional story.
And there's one more major piece. The alignments.
Alignments, like Stonehenge.
Exactly like that.
Mhm.
Sigiriya wasn't just built, it was designed with astronomical precision. There's a line drawn from the center of the main building on top. It aligns perfectly with those big gardens down below. But more than that, the whole alignment is precisely oriented to the sunrise and sunset angles during the equinoxes.
The spring and autumn equinoxes. Perfectly aligned.
Perfectly. That's not accidental. That requires sophisticated knowledge of astronomy, careful surveying, and deliberate integration into the architecture.
It suggests they weren't just builders, but astronomers, too.
Or at least they incorporated advanced astronomical knowledge into their design, which again pushes back against the Rush Fortress idea. This implies deep planning, observation, maybe even a spiritual connection to the cosmos.
Like so many other ancient advanced sites around the world. Giza, Teotihuacan, Angkor Wat. They all have these astronomical links.
It's a recurring theme, isn't it? It suggests a level of scientific understanding and a worldview that we maybe underestimate for these periods. How did they achieve that precision without modern instruments?
Generations of observation. Or something else.
Or access to an older, more advanced body of knowledge.
Sure.
It definitely adds weight to the argument that Sigiriya is more than just Kashyap's 7-year project. It feels deeper, more complex.
Okay, so let's recap the challenge, the mainstream story. We have King Kashyapa supposedly building this sky city in just 7 years out of fear.
Right.
But then we have impossible logistics. Millions of bricks, tons of unknown marble, moved up a cliff with no stairs.
Check.
Extremely advanced engineering, a stepped pyramid like Teotihuacan, complex hydraulic systems like Angkor Wat that still work.
Check.
Weird structural stuff. Carvings older than Kashyapa, deep holes drilled into granite, a massive granite pool carved with smooth scoop scars, and precise astronomical alignments tying the whole thing to the cosmos.
All of which makes that simple 7-year explanation seem, well, inadequate is putting it mildly.
Massively inadequate. And this skepticism isn't just us talking now, is it? People closer to the site have always questioned it.
Absolutely. The Buddhist and Hindu priests, whose traditions have been intertwined with that region for maybe 1,000 years, they have a completely different story.
They see it as incredibly sacred ground.
Extremely sacred. And they flat out reject the Kashyapa narrative.
Mm-hmm.
They say Sigiriya had nothing to do with King Kashyapa.
So what do they say? Where did it come from?
Their traditions claim it's much, much older, an ancient structure dating back thousands of years before Kashyapa was even born.
Thousands. How far back?
Get this. Some traditions say it dates back even before a great global flood. Antediluvian.
Before the flood. Wow, okay. So who built it then, according to them?
Not ordinary humans. It was built by divine beings, beings with advanced capability.
Divine beings, like gods? or something else?
The myths are varied, but
Yeah.
yeah, beings beyond normal human capacity. And it was built, they say, for a very specific, very important visitor,
Woo.
Adam. Just after he was expelled from heaven, Sigiriya was supposedly one of the places he came to on Earth.
Adam, as in Adam and Eve.
That's the claim in some of these blended traditions. It totally reframes the purpose and origin, moving it into this realm of deep myth and cosmology.
Yeah, this is where the story takes a hard turn from engineering puzzles into, well, into ancient epics and divine intervention. It completely rewrites history, if true.
And what's fascinating, like we touched on before, is how these ancient stories offer explanations for the things that baffle us.
Like getting the materials up.
Exactly. Think about the Hindu myths, especially the Ramayana, the great war between Rama and Ravana.
Right, Ravana, the sort of demon king of Lanka.
Well, according to some versions of the story, Ravana kidnapped Rama's wife, Sita.
Or Sati in some tellings, yeah.
And where did he take her? To his palace at the top of these rocks, Sigiriya.
Ravana's palace was Sigiriya.
That's the myth. And how did he get her up there, and how did he travel? On his flying Vimana.
Vimanas,
Yeah.
these mythical flying machines from ancient texts. Capable of flight, sometimes even space travel in the descriptions.
Exactly. Hints of incredibly advanced technology way beyond chariots.
So if Ravana had Vimanas,
Then maybe getting materials up wouldn't be an issue. The myths continue, saying Ravana lived there with the Asuras.
Asuras, often depicted as demons, but sometimes more like, what? An advanced race.
Yeah, sometimes described as a rival group to the Devas or gods, possessing powerful technology they used in their conflicts. An evil race that uses highly advanced technology to fight with divine beings, as one source puts it.
So advanced tech? Like what?
Like, potentially, levitation technology? Some researchers and religious groups believe the Asuras built Sigiriya using levitation.
Which would perfectly explain the lack of stairs or ramps.
Precisely. It's a mythological answer, sure, but it directly addresses one of the biggest physical mysteries of the site. It offers a paradigm where the impossible becomes possible.
Okay, so Ravana, Asuras, Vimanas, levitation, it's a completely different framework. What about the name Lion Rock and those claws at the entrance?
Right, the giant claws. They're usually called lion claws, hence Lion Rock, Sigiriya.
But you mentioned some people think they look more like reptile claws.
Yes, some researchers argue the anatomy is closer to a reptile's. And this connects back to Ravana in fascinating ways.
Oh, so?
Because Ravana in the myths isn't just a human king. He's often described as something more. Maybe like the Nephilim, these hybrid giant figures from various ancient traditions.
A giant? How tall?
Some myths say over 3 meters tall, incredibly strong. But crucially, his symbolism is dual.
Dual.
He symbolizes both a lion and a reptile.
Lion and reptile, okay.
And the Asura race he ruled, they're also often likened to giant reptiles in ancient texts.
So the claws could be reptile claws linked to Ravana and the Asuras.
And visually, some argue they do look more reptilian than feline. Plus, another key feature of Ravana in the myths,
What's that?
his ability to shapeshift, to change his form,
Ah, so he could appear as a lion or a reptile?
potentially.
Yeah.
It adds this whole complex layer of symbolism, maybe even literal description, to the name Lion Rock. Are the claws of lions or reptiles?
Rah.
A representation of Ravana's own shifting nature.
It definitely complicates the simple lion gate explanation. Hybrid giants, shape-shifting reptile rulers, advanced tech. It's a far cry from King Kashyapa hiding from his brother.
A completely different universe of explanation, rooted in deep mythology.
And this blending of stories, this layering of beliefs, it continues even beyond the Hindu myths, right, with other religions coming into Sri Lanka.
Absolutely. As Christianity and Islam gained influence over the centuries, you see this fascinating process of syncretism. Ancient local myths start blending with Abrahamic traditions.
Like the Adam story you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. That led to the very popular belief that the first place Adam set foot on Earth after leaving Eden was Adam's Hill, or Adam's Peak, in Sri Lanka.
Which isn't Sigiriya itself, it's another mountain.
Right, it's about 170 kilometers away.
Yeah.
But it's become this incredibly important pilgrimage site for multiple faiths. Buddhists, Hindus, Christians, Muslims, they all revere it.
Why? What's there?
The main focus is a rock formation on the summit that looks like a giant footprint.
A footprint, and everyone agrees it's sacred.
Yes, but whose footprint it is depends on who you ask. That's where the layering comes in.
Ah, okay. So it's a prime example of how different religions can claim the same sacred spot.
A textbook case. It shows how powerful symbols, like a footprint on a mountain, can be reinterpreted and absorbed by different cultures over time. Each adds their own meaning.
So what was the original belief about the footprint? Who claimed it first?
Initially, in the Hindu tradition, it was believed to be the footprint of the god Shiva,
Shiva. Why him?
because myths said Shiva often visited Lanka, especially after the Asuras were kicked out, and he meditated on that mountain. So Shiva's footprint makes sense in that context.
Okay. Then what happened?
Then, as Buddhism became dominant, the story shifted. Buddhists claimed it was actually the Buddha's footprint left when he visited the island to meditate there.
So same footprint, different holy figure.
Exactly. And then later still, with the spread of Christianity and Islam, the narrative adapted again. The footprint became associated with Adam.
Adam's first step on Earth. And Sigiriya got mentioned in that context too.
Yes, some traditions linked Sigiriya as a place Adam stayed. So you see this continuous rewriting, layering one hero or story on top of the previous one.
That evolution is incredible. What do you think is the most fascinating part of that? How they compete, yet coexist?
For me, it's exactly that dynamic. As the sources note, it's a great example of religions competing for symbolism. Each group essentially added his own hero to the others and rewrote the story.
But the result wasn't necessarily conflict, was it?
Not always at the site itself. Paradoxically, this constant re-narration, this layering of meaning, is what allowed the place to remain sacred and relevant to so many different people across centuries. It became a shared holy site, drawing diverse pilgrims.
It shows that deep human need to connect with the sacred, even if the details of the story change over time.
Precisely. The place itself holds the power, and the stories adapt to maintain that connection.
So Sri Lanka itself is this hotbed of ancient myths and mysteries.
Absolutely. It's right at the heart of so many key Hindu stories. The Rama-Ravana War, the Ramasetu Bridge they supposedly built.
Shiva meditating there, stories of Nagas interacting with people.
Yeah, the whole island is steeped in this rich, ancient mythological history. Legend and landscape are deeply intertwined.
And there are dozens of other sacred sites on the island, right? Many with their own stories.
Many. But Sigiriya still stands out. It remains, as the sources emphasize, the only place whose secret is still unsolved.
Why do you think that is? Why Sigiriya specifically? What makes it resist easy answers, unlike maybe other sites?
That's the critical question, isn't it? Maybe it's the sheer scale of the physical contradictions we've discussed. The hardness of the rock, the impossible logistics, the advanced hydraulics, the scoop scars, the alignments.
It's not just one mystery, it's a whole cluster of them.
Exactly. At other sites, maybe the legends fit more comfortably, or the physical evidence isn't quite so jarringly inconsistent with conventional history. Sigiriya presents this coherent, multifaceted challenge that demands a more radical explanation, perhaps.
It forces you to choose, almost.
It presents a fundamental dichotomy, a choice between two vastly different narratives.
So for you listening, that's the core question we're left with. After hearing all this, where do you land?
Do you accept the mainstream story?
Do you think King Kashyapa, fleeing his brother, really flattened that Mo's 7 granite summit and built a city in just 7 years, hauling millions of bricks and tons of unknown marble up a cliff with no stairs? Does that add up?
Or do you lean towards the other narrative?
Is Sigiriya something else? A remnant of a much older, maybe antediluvian civilization, showcasing superior technology and architectural knowledge?
Was it, as the myths suggest, a place built or used by beings we might call gods, using methods like levitation or stone softening that are lost to us?
When you really weigh the evidence, the impossible logistics, the weird carvings, the advanced water systems, the alignments, does Kashyapa's 7-year build truly hold water?
Or does it feel more like we're seeing echoes of something far more ancient and mysterious, built by people or beings with capabilities that defy our standard historical timelines?
The evidence really forces us to ask fundamental questions, doesn't it? About our history, about ancient technology, about whether there's real truth hidden inside these persistent old legends.
It challenges our assumptions about the past.
So this deep dive, it's really just scratching the surface. It's an invitation for you to keep digging.
To weigh the evidence for yourself, the inconsistencies in one story, the seemingly fantastical claims in the other.
Which narrative makes more sense of the physical place? And maybe think about how Sigiriya connects to other ancient puzzles around the globe. Is it isolated or part of a bigger picture we're only starting to grasp?
What if that initial comment from the monks they flew there wasn't just a dismissal, but something else, a memory, however distorted, of how the impossible was actually achieved?
Definitely leaves you thinking. Keep questioning, keep exploring. Sigiriya's secrets might be linked to mysteries far beyond Sri Lanka.